7.2, solving exponential equations and inequalities. So we're going to talk about how to solve exponential equations. The key thing is right here. Here is the key, and that is get the same base. If you get two things at the same base, then you can just drop them and solve the powers. That's the whole thing. So the property of equality of exponential functions, all it says is this: if you get two things that have the same base, then all you have to do is solve the powers. So if these match and these match, it becomes an easy problem. So knowing your powers here makes life so much easier. So know your powers is a hint. Know your powers. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna rewrite stuff in the same base. It's like when I did that example a couple videos ago, where I was like, "Oh, we're gonna use this a lot next chapter." Here's where we're gonna use it. So for step 1, try to get these bases to match. So 125, I could write that as 5 to the 3rd power. Gotta know your powers, people. Now we also gotta remember that what happens when you have a power to a power. These things, a power to power, you multiply. So you're actually gonna distribute this 3 to both of them. But even before that, right, these match, so you just solve the top. So it's gonna be 5x equals 3 times x plus 2. Very important, distribute the 3. Powers by multiply, so 3x plus 6, do a little mathematics. 2x equals 6, x equals 3. You go back and plug it in, but right now it doesn't work. Let's move on to the next one, same idea, right? So again, I gotta make these powers match. So you gotta understand 32 to what power, like 32 is 2 to what power? That's the whole thing you want to stay in your head. In this case, it's 2 to the 5th. So if you know your powers, it's a lot easier. Right, the bases match, we can solve the powers. So 6x equals 5 times x minus 2. Don't forget to distribute. 6x equals 5x minus 10. Subtract 5x from both sides. X equals negative 10. Let's move on. Let's try to get these to match. So the first thing, 64 equals 4 to the 3rd. These match, let's solve the powers. 2n minus 1 equals 3. Add 1, add 1. 2n equals 4. Divide by 2, n equals 2. That's actually one way to do it. There's another way. I should say there's actually another way you could do it also. I could write 4s2 squared if I wanted to. And I could write 64s2 to the 6th if I wanted to. And I could solve it that way. You can always work on both sides if you need to. You get the same answer, n equals 2. But it's an alternate way of doing it, where we move both sides. You rewrite both sides. Anyway, the one right here. Okay, try to get the bases to match. 49 is 7 squared. Equals 7 to the 8x minus 6. Remember, once you get that, you can just drop the bases. 2, don't forget to distribute the power. So I get 2x plus 10 equals 8x minus 6. Add 6, subtract 2, subtract 2. 16 equals 6x, divide by 6. X equals 8 over 3. Sometimes you get fractions, that happens. Okay, let's talk about compound interest. Okay, so compound interest is something you see a lot in banking and other things. Let's see what your finances. So you deposit money, a lot of times the bank or other things will give you interest account. This is a way to find out if they compound interest, which means they calculate interest every n times, every so many times. So here's the formula. Let's talk about what everything means. A is annuity, which just means how much money you make, the total. Like total money after so much time. P is called the principal, also known as deposit or your initial amount. It's how much you put into the account. R is rate, and decimal as always. T is time. N's a big one. N's the number of times they compounded per year. So how many times they actually calculate the interest? So sometimes they'll say, oh, it's monthly. Well, there's 12 months out of a year, so n is 12. They might say weekly, so then n equals 52. They could say quarterly. That means we're going to do it 4 times. So stuff like that. N's all about what they're talking about. So let's do an example. As always, I always give the formula. So first I'm going to write down, here's my formula that I will give it to you. You just got to know when to use it. And let's read the problem. Find the account balance of the 20 years. So the 20 years, if $100 places into account, that pays 1.2% interest. So that's my T. I'm putting $100 in, so that's my principal. My rate is a paltry 1.2% or 0.012. I'm trying to see how much I'm going to make, and I'm compounding it twice a month. Right, so twice a month, there's 12 months a year, and we're doing it twice, so 12 times 2. So n equals 24. That's all I need. My time, how much I deposit, my rate, and then what's my n. So I'm going to figure out how much money I have at the end of 20 years when I do all this. So plug in put $100 in, 1 plus 0.012 over 24, and then twice a month, so 12 times 2. And then NT, 24 times 20. We're going to plug this all into a calculator. So $100 times 1 plus 0.012 divided by 24 to the 24 times 20. And after 20 years, so you go in, deposit your bank when you're 16 years old, you come back 20 years later, you're 36, and you have $127. And I don't want to shortchange you, 12 cents. Again, that's not how much money you made, that's how much money you have. So you started off with 100, now you have $127. You made 27 bucks. So don't go for that route if the interest is that low and they don't compound twice a month. But that's how much more we're going to have at the end of 20 years. That doesn't keep with inflation most of the time. So that's pretty bad. Get a higher interest rate. Or deposit more money in. That's another way to make more money at the end. Anyway, this next person does it differently. He goes like, I'm going to go to CD because that sucked. So you do a CD that pays 2.2%, almost double, right? So that's my rate's almost double, 0.025. Compounded bi-weekly. So they're doing it every 2 weeks. So if we do 2 weeks a year, they're doing it every 2 weeks. So we're actually going to divide by 2. So 26. So bi-weekly means every 2 weeks. So if we do 2 weeks a year, divide that by 2, you get 26. That's my N. You deposit $500 in, so we have putting more money in. That's good. What's the balance after 6 years? So again, I'll give you the formula. And plug everything in. Plug in $500, my deposit. My rate is 0.0225. My N is 26. And 26 times 6 years. So we're only keeping it 6 years now. Last one kept that in for 20 years. Now we're going to do 6 years. So 500 times 1 plus 0.0225 divided by 26 to the 26 times 6. So $572. So we made, in this case, again, it's how much money we made, not how much money, it's how much money we have, not how much money we made. 23 cents. This time in 6 years, we made 72 bucks. We made like almost double, triple actually, in like a lot less years. Why? Well, because our deposit was higher and our interest rate was more. The 2 main reasons. So that's compound interest, right? Again, I'll give you the formula. All you gotta do is find everything, find the principal, how much you deposit, find your rate, they'll tell you. And the only thing that's a little tricky is how many times they deposit per year. So keep in mind, monthly is 12, right? Weekly is 52, quarterly is 4. And then just plug it in and get an answer. Inequalities. Now, normally with inequalities, there's one extra step, and that is step 0 to inequality is to find a domain. So anytime we have inequality, we want to find a domain first. The issue here is not issue. The good thing here is the domain of exponential functions. Remember, anytime we do an exponential function, domains is all real numbers. So you don't have to worry about the domain in this case. You don't have to worry about step 0. If you're doing inequalities, your domain's all real numbers. So you just solve it like normal. Nothing changes. So let's do a few examples. So I'll make these a little tougher. So we have 3. I want this to match. So 243, you gotta think. That's the same as saying 1 over 3 to the 5th power. 3 to the 5th is 243. We have a problem though. They still don't match. This is on top. This is on the bottom. I gotta flip it to be on top. Remember the way you flip powers? You make it negative. So it's 3 to the negative 5. So 243 is 3 to the 5th. It's on the bottom. I need it to be on the numerator. So you flip it up. Once you get that, once these match, you just solve the power. So 2x minus 1 is greater than equal to negative 5. Add 1, add 1. 2x is greater than equal to negative 4. Divide by 2. X is greater than equal to negative 2. So let's do the same thing with the next one. Again, I gotta make the powers match. I can rewrite this. But the thing is saying 1 over 2 to the 5th. And then I gotta flip it up. So it's 2x plus 2 is greater than 2 to the negative 5th. Bases match, solve the top, solve the powers. Subtract 2. X is greater than negative 7. Again, I don't worry about the remainder of this case because the domain is all real numbers. Exponential functions always have all real numbers. You can plug anything you want into this equation. It's going to work. Last one, I believe. So this one, I get to make the match now. 125 does not equal 5 squared. 5 squared is 625, so it doesn't work that way. This is one of the ones where I got to work on both sides. 25 is the same thing as saying 5 squared. Y minus 3. 125 is the same thing as saying 1 over 5 cubed. Y plus 2. Right, you have to work on both sides in this case. Distribute, I get 5 to the 2y minus 6. This side I got to flip that thing up there. So it's going to be 5 to the negative 3 y plus 2. Once you get the bases to match, you can solve the powers. So 2y minus 6 is less than or equal to distribute the negative 3 and negative 3y minus 6. Let's do some math. Plus 6 plus 6 plus 3y plus 3y. I get 5y is less than 0. People freak out. Don't freak out. It's a number. Divide by 5. Y is less than 0. That's all good. Okay. One last set of problems. So this one's a little different. So what's going on here? They want you to write an exponential function. So an exponential function looks like this. That goes through the given points. So it has to go through these points. So the way this works is like this. We're going to sub the points in. Sub points into equation to make two equations. So what I mean by that's this. This is my x, this is my y. Plug it in. So in this case I got 6.4 equals a times b to the 0. In this case I have, I guess my y, 100 equals a times b to the 3rd. So you do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to solve for one equation. Solve for one equation. And sub into the other equation. So in this case, you can solve for anyone you want. I'm going to solve for this one because it's the easiest. B to the 0 is 1. So I have 6.4 equals a. Now that doesn't necessarily have to happen. I could just get like a by itself. It might be 6.4 over b and just plug it in and stuff will work. It's always the same idea though. Solve for one variable and plug into the other variable. Solve for one variable, I should say. We're basically doing substitution method here. So I solved for one of the variables. In this case, it worked out because b was 0, and I just got 6.4 equals a. And then we're going to sub that into the other equation, right? Solve by substitution. Plug it in. So I get this. 100 equals 6.4 b cubed. Right? This was my a. Now all we got to do is solve for b. So next 3 is solve. So divide by 6.4. 100 divided by 6.4. I want to say it's 16 or 8 or something like that. Let's put my calculator to make sure. 15, I guess I was wrong. 15.625 equals b cubed. And then we had to get rid of the b cubed, so cube root it. Get rid of the cubed. And b equals, I'm going to use my calculator again, because I don't know what that is. So second, or should I just go to math? Math has a cube root. And I get 2.5. So that's my b, but don't forget we're solving, well actually we have b and we have a. So last step is rewrite. Right, the question wasn't find a and b, the question was write it as right in here, so rewrite it. So my answer is going to be y equals 6.4 times 2.5 to the x power. That's how you write a exponential function given 2 points, right? So write down a normal exponential function, plug the points in, then do substitution. Substitution method, that's all it is. Let's do one more to make sure we got this. This one looks a lot scary because the numbers are huge, but it's going to work the exact same way. Let's plug them in, x and y. So in this case I have 128 equals ab to the 0. And over here I have 371,293 equals ab to the 5th power. I'm actually doing another one. I'm going to make one up just for fun. Anyway, we're going to solve for one of them. This is the easiest one because b equals 0, so it goes away. So I just have a equals 128. Easy. I have that. I can plug into this a, substitution method. Right? So then I'm going to divide by 128. So now I have 371,293 divided by 128, which is that huge number. So all we got to do now is cube root that. Fifth root it, sorry. I need to change my color. Remember, the easy way to do fifth root is this. You select it and just put it to the 1/5 power. Easiest way. You can go to math and go and make the root yourself, but that's the easiest way. So I get a decimal. Man, no nice numbers here. I'm gonna round it to that number. So that's my b, that's my a. Let's rewrite it. Y equals 128, 4.98 to the x power. That's my equation. Let's do one more. We'll make this one up. So let's do one more. Let's do the points 1, 6, and 4 and 162. I'm gonna do one without a 0. So we're gonna do the exact same thing. I want to come on an equation that fits this. So we do what we always do. Plug the points in. So this is x and y. I get 6 equals ab to the 1st, x and y. I get 162 equals ab to the 4th power. So this is something you can see all the time. No matter what number that plug in, you can work the exact same way. Now we're going to solve for one of them. Let's solve for a here. I just think it's the easiest. So a is an equal, divide by b, 6 over b. That's it. Like a equals 6 over b. Can't do anything else. Plug it in. So I'm going to get 162 equals 6 over b, b to the 4th. 4. What did I do next? Well, I reduce. B to the 4th times 6 over b, that's just going to be 162. 6, b to the 3rd power, right? These reduce. All I got to do here is solve. Divide this by 6. That's going to be 27 equals b cubed. Well, to cube root this, b equals 3. Plug that b, I got to find my a, so plug that b in. So a now equals 6 over 3, which is just 2. There's my a, there's my b, so my equation's going to be y equals 2 times 3 to the x. And that's the lesson.